welcome to the second episode of my YouTube channel. My name is Deanne, I'm from Newfoundland, and this is Stitching on the Rock. First I want to say thank you to everyone who liked, commented on my videos, subscribed to my channel, my friends that commented on my Facebook posts. I really appreciate that you watched and that you enjoyed and that you think I did a good job. I'm not 100% sure about it, but thank you all. I told you I'd share my works in progress with you in a couple of weeks, and it's only a week, but my son is at his dad's for the weekend, so I thought I would do it tonight so I didn't have to have, "Mom, what are you doing?" So here we are. I went through my works in progress, my UFOs, whatever you want to call them. I have 11, which is not too bad, I know, compared to a lot of people, but some people might think, gosh, that's a lot. I kind of have three categories. Ones that I've had for a long time, or a fairly long time, and that I was working on, had a nice bit done. A couple that I started just before I hurt my shoulder and I have very little done. And a couple that I've started since I got back into it in December. I didn't really divide them out in those categories to share them with you, but that's just how they seem to work. So first up, we have the one that I've been working on the most since I got back into stitching, and one I've started since I got back into stitching. A friend of mine was doing the TCSS, which is the Cross Stitch Studio. I'll get it right. Mystery Sal last year, and so I thought I'd sign up this year. The theme is Under the Sea, which I really like the ocean and all that, so that intrigued me. I can't show you what it's going to look like because I don't know, because it's a mystery, but they've released 2 pages so far. I'm still working on the first one. If you watched my last video, you know that my son has been in online learning for the last 3 weeks, and he has autism and ADHD, so he needs a student assistant, and for the last 3 weeks it's been Mom. So I've been in the basement with him from 8 to 2. We're not there constantly, obviously. The teachers usually come on, talk for 15 or 20 minutes and give them a little assignment. My little boy is really pretty smart. As long as he's got someone there saying, okay, we have to do this, he does really well. And we usually have 10 or 15 minutes free between classes, but not enough time to stitch. And the first week was really hard. I came up every day and lay down on the couch, and I got dishes done and laundry done, and that's about it. The last 2 weeks I've gotten better. This week I've been really good with getting everything done, not so much with the stitching, but with getting everything else done. They go back to class on Tuesday, so hopefully I'll get more time to catch up on the Sal. But anyway, enough of my rambling. This is what I have stitched. Hopefully you guys can see it. It's mostly turquoise colors right now, and they kind of blend in with the fabric. But right down in the little corner you can see there's some brown and gold coming, so I'm sure it'll look fine on this fabric. This is done 1/1 on 28 count, and the fabric is called Blue Dynasty. It's really pretty pale blue, and it's got a little bit of a mottling of darker blue in it, but not much. Next we have one of the patterns. The reason why I wanted to get back into stitching after I hurt myself. I told in the last video that I love to read, and my 2 favorite books are Pride and Prejudice and Anne of Green Gables, and I discovered in my little wanderings around the Heaven and Earth Design site that Amy Stewart had done a bookshelf, and it was romantic stories, I think, but each one of the stories had been taken out and done into a quick stitch, and both Pride and Prejudice and Anne of Green Gables was there, so I couldn't help myself. So this is the Pride and Prejudice one. I had a piece of fabric that would work for that. Bring it in really close so you guys can see Elizabeth and Darcy. The Anne of Green Gables I didn't have a piece of fabric for, so that's been ordered, and I'm just waiting. Something else I ordered was on back order, so but that's okay because I have 11 other things to stitch on. But I have put enough into it to say that I have started it. You probably can't see it because it turns out that the stitches that I put in right up in the very, 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 very top corner right up here are very, very pale blue. And so is my fabric. So I have 20 stitches approximately put in, but I've started it. So that counts as a work in progress. You will notice as you go through my works in progress, I don't stitch on white fabric, even if they're full coverage. I find white fabric very boring, and it's probably the easiest way to get a work in progress to go to my UFO pile. Okay, so the next one is a quick little pattern, a little one that I have been in the progress of doing for several years. I don't know if it's because it's done on linen or it's done on 32 count. Why I don't have it finished, because it's like tiny. It's Bent Creek and it's called Waiting for Santa, and it's done with Work Dye Weeks thread. And I don't know the name of this fabric, but it is a 32 count, 32 count linen, and it's about half done. Really, it wouldn't take much to get it finished, and hopefully I'll have it finished this year. Next is Mirabilia. I printed off my Mirabilia patterns on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper so you guys could all see them. This is called Jade Blue, and I have her done on a 28 count. Even we've called Iris Garden, and I'll show you in just a second. I just wanted to, hang on, sorry. I'm trying to get my light. It's dark out, it's evening, and I do it in the daytime, but it wouldn't really matter because we haven't seen the sun in I don't know how long. Let me see if I can, sorry. Trying to turn it off. Maybe that would be better for seeing them in the dark. I could not get this Krynic color here, so I've changed that to match the colors in her dress, a teal-y color. And the beads here and here, they're reddish orange, and I really didn't like them. I don't know why they were done that color, but anyway, she's the designer, that's her choice. I changed them, and they're more also, I think, I'm not sure if I changed them to a teal or a purple now that I think about it. Let me just see. Oh, I changed them to a teal. They're going to be that color instead of the reddy orange. So we'll see how that goes. And oh, yeah, here she is. Should show you the actual stitching piece, shouldn't I? There she is. So she's, the DMC stitching is all done. The Krynic, other than that color that I changed because I had to wait to get that, and the beading are left. So she should be finished this year. Knock on wood, because I'm not a fan of beading, but we'll see. Next up is the Heaven and Earth design that I'm closest to finishing, but it's only 4 pages, so that's probably why I'm closest to finishing it. It is Quick Stitch Iris by Josephine Wall. There it is. You guys can see. And so I have the top 2 pages done, and I'm working on page number 3. I have it down all the way down to the bottom, so that's the end of the pattern itself. So it shouldn't take too long to get that done. Well, relative to being a Heaven and Earth design, right? Next up is one of the ones that I had started just before I got hurt, and it is, as you know from last video, I'm a Blue Jays fan, so baseball in the summertime is my life. So this is Mini Hometown Hero Baseball by Donna Gelsinger, and it's a locker, a baseball locker with all the baseball stuff, and I'm doing that 1/1, 1/1, 2/2, sorry, not 1/1. And the iris is done 2/2 as well. And so is the little Waiting for Santa. The Mystery Sal and the Pride and Prejudice are done 1/1. Okay, try and remember to tell you that. If I can find my stitching on this piece, there it is. See, it kind of blends in with the fabric as well. Let me see if you can see, because I turned my light off. Here's what I have done, which is not very much at all. But the blue, you're going to say, well, the blue blends in with it. But if you look at the pattern, the blue is really only right across the top here and then a little bit down the side here. So once I get into the other colors, that should be fine on the fabric. So that's that one. Another Mirabilia up next, and it is called Mermaids of the Deep Blue. Ooh, this one, the two mermaids, and this is what I have done of that one. I can go back far enough so you guys can see. I have the bottom mermaid complete, and I have the top mermaid to finish, and I've been beading as I go along with this one because there is lots of beading in it. And that is done 2/2 on this aqua color, which is really pretty. That is that one. Next is another one of the ones that I started just before I got hurt, and it is Quick Stitch Snowflake Wonder by Lisa Victoria. And then I have the Earth Design one. You see the little dragon with the snowflakes. And that one, once again, I only just got it started, and it is done, and ignore the thread that is there. It's done on a 28 count 2/2, and it's called, the color is called Ice Blue. Really pretty, snowy feel to that fabric. What else? What's next? Next is another Heaven and Earth design, and this is the one I picked up when I said I'm going back to stitching in December, and I think I found an error in it, and at the time I was like, no, I'm not going to sit down and try and figure out where I made the mistake and what I've got to frog. I'll pick up a different one. So I picked up the iris and stitched a little bit on that before I started on the Mystery Sal. But this is Mini Sunflowers by Marianne Broom. And I love sunflowers. They're my favorite flower. And this is what I had done, which is the corner, and you can see the big sunflower and the one turned to the side. And I think I have a mistake made in the large one, and I'm going to have to go back and go through it and see if I have to frog anything, or if I didn't make a mistake and just that was just the way I looked at it. We'll see. This is my oldest work in progress, I guess, that I have, and it's another Mirabilia, and it's Ada. So there she is, and I have her done on a 2/2 on a 28 count opalescent even weave. And this is what I have done with her. One wing and her head and a little bit of her dress. I don't know if you can see the opalescent. I'm going to turn the light on again and see if we can get the, can we get the sparkle? Yeah, I think you can see the sparkle. Really pretty. I don't know the color name of the fabric, but it's probably a silk weaver as well. Most of these were silk weaver pieces that I got in my fabric of the month. And my final one that I have to show you, and I didn't print a bigger picture off of this, it's a Jeanette Douglas design. And let's see if we can get the light right. It's floral, it's called, and it is part of the Canadian Journey series. And my dream is to have them all done and have them on my wall, kind of like a map of Canada. I don't know how to work with the territories because they should go across the top of the map, but the design is up and down. So, but I kind of thought I'd have the Atlantic, because there's an Atlantic one, so I'd kind of have that one lower, and then there's the fleur-de-lis one, which would be Quebec, and then there would be, I believe there's an Ontario one, and then a prairie one, and a Pacific Coast one, and then the territory kind of one. So I don't know how I'd do it on a wall, but that would be my dream. But this is what I have done, which is just the very top little bit, not much done at all. That's my border guide, so that's not a spot. It's just a piece of thread to show me where I need to start to have the right amount of border. I really love these. She put out a book with all of them. Instead of having to get the little pamphlets of each one, she put out a book, and that's on my wish list. But there's a lot of specialty threads, and there's a lot of specialty stitches that you have to try and figure out how to do in them. So it's not a quick stitch, even though it's, you know, it looks like just little lines of stitching. It doesn't look like it would take very long to do each one. Each line has some specialty stitches and specialty threads and beads and things. So hopefully I'll live long enough to get them all done. And that's my work in progresses. Now, how I'm going to stitch on them, well, the Mystery Sal is going to be my focus. I want to get caught up so that I'm not so far behind on the pages that I'm 20 pages behind. I'd like to, because they come out, I think, on the 1st and the 15th, which means there's a third page coming out in a week and a half. I'd like to be into page 2, obviously, before that one comes out, so that I don't fall so far behind. So I will be stitching on that one as much as I can to catch up. And then the others, I said I was going to put all the names in a jar and pull one out and look at it and see what I'd like to accomplish, whether it's a stitch count on the ones that are in Pattern Keeper, or like this one would be maybe get a row done before I move on to something else, or well, the Mirabilia ones don't really have rows or anything, but maybe a section or a color or something like that. I haven't really figured that out yet, but you will know in my next video, because I will have progress to show you. I'm going to, like I said, try and do them on the weekends when my son is at his dad's, so it makes it easier. I don't have to be quiet for him, or I don't have him interrupting me, or him listening to me start a video 25 times before I'm satisfied with what I want to say. Anyway, we'll see. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.